Hi, hopefully this works. Okay, so my background working with English language learners is that technically I am an English language learner. I didn't learn to speak English until I was about 6 and I went to school. So that puts me in a interesting spot. I also have lived in other countries where I was not a native or fluent speaker in the language, so I get the reverse of what our ELLs get to experience at school. The demographic of my classroom is I teach first grade in a regular ed school. I have 21 first graders in my room and 7 are ELLs. I have 2 Spanish speakers, one from Mexico, one from Honduras. I have 2 native Creole speakers, they're from Haiti. I have a student from India, and I can't remember what language they speak in the home. I have a student from Albania, and I have a student from the Ukraine. Most of my students moved here themselves, like within the last, there's 6, so within the last couple years. My Indian student moved this summer. She started with 0 English. And my Albanian student, his parents moved here when they were in high school themselves, but they do speak Albanian in the home. Their English levels are at all various spots. They're learning very well and listening and using English. My Indian student's the best example. She started this school year with very little English and is learning English really, really well. So we had a really nice conversation the other day, her and I did. The specific trainings I received is I took 2 courses. I have an endorsement on my California educator's license. In the state of California, you have to have an ESL endorsement because of the amount of English as a second language students they have in their public school system. So I took 2 specific courses and the exam to get the endorsement. I currently teach in the state of Illinois. I don't have the endorsement in Illinois just because I don't think it's worth the 18 hours that I have to pay to get it. But I've also taken a few other courses working with that. I don't have an adapted curriculum specifically that I use with my students. Again, I teach first grade, so first grade is very visual, very basic, very organized well. Something I think that works for ESL students nicely is repeating yourself in the exact same manner. So if I was asking a student, please go sit down, I would use the words, please go sit down 2 or 3 times again, exactly the same way. Please go sit down. Please go sit down. Please go sit down. I wouldn't say, please go sit down. Go sit. Go get in your chair. I need your bottom in the chair. I wouldn't say different things. I would say the exact same thing every single time. It really solidifies the direction that you're trying to give them. I adapt my regular curriculum, adding more visuals. In first grade, we have that, adding more visuals and vocabulary to things, not too much vocabulary because we want to make sure that they understand what we're talking about. And visuals, I mean, we can use Google Images, we can Google things and show pictures to have discussions about various things, which is actually extremely helpful. How do I ensure that they are engaged in my lessons? Making sure that we're asking questions, let's say at story time, showing a story, and maybe they tune out because sometimes you sound like the Charlie Brown teacher when you're not quite sure what's being said in the classroom. So asking questions to them, like during story time, that they can see the visual, like what's the little boy holding in the picture, or what's on the table, so they can see the picture and still understand that they have to be tuned in. Also, saying their name directly helps because that like clues you in immediately. what type of grouping or cooperative learning do I do? My students work well together. They do a lot at the peer group. So, like, they will read each other's sentences or talk about things, or my students are really good about asking each other what kind of help they can give each other, or if someone needs something, they really work well together. I also have a couple students that I have identified as leaders who also will check that students have completed work or are following the directions the correct way. And they kind of take the initiative now, as I've labeled them, to make sure that students are doing the right work and doing the work correctly. And if not, they just work together on things too. I'm okay with students working together. Getting the work done kind of gives you a satisfaction. And as an ESL, especially at our grade, them seeing the work that's done. Let's say, for example, you have to color. This week we worked on the SH sound, the sh sound, and there were words on a page, and you had to color. You had to identify or highlight or color the SH in every word. Well, sometimes if someone is pointing that out to you and showing you what you're supposed to color, and then you did color it, when you look at it at the end, now you're actually identifying, oh, all of these say sh, sh, sh. And so just because you didn't do it all independently doesn't mean that you're not gaining some information when it's finished and you can see the completed work. So that's beneficial to not only the ESL students, but the regular students, the typical students. What type of feedback do I give? Always positive, always direct, speaking to them, and trying to be as smiley and friendly as possible. How do I communicate with parents? Email. Email is great. And I encourage them to email. Google Translate's amazing. So if I send an email, they can look at it on Google Translate. It's always great to be able to identify or be able to look at what the first language was, and being able to identify what the language in the original email was in the original text. Because if it translates something kind of funny, they can go back and look and identify words within it. So, like, I would give an example of something translating the word crayons to crackers, and you're looking and being like, well, why would they want to have crackers at coloring time? And then you would look and be like, oh, actually the word is crayons. But Google Translate, always great, easy, nice to have. How do I integrate technology? Google Translate, Google Images, Google. The other day a kid and I weren't sure if we were talking about sharks. They didn't know, I didn't know. Put in sharks in Google and show pictures, and of course you see that, and then you know what you're looking at. So lot of Google Images and Google Translate as a technology. Yes, so hopefully it works out. I wish you luck. It's going to be great. I love having all the ESLs. I think they're just so much fun, and they add so much flavor to all of our lives. Have a great day. Bye.